Hello, BookTube. It's Thursday, and I thought I'd come on and do a video. It's sort of a bit of a book haul. It sort of surprised me. Some of the stuff sort of snuck up on me. I wasn't expecting to really be buying too many books at this point because I'm not working. But when a deal's a deal and it's super cheap, I'll explain in a minute. I can get a few pennies together for that. At least so far I can. And it's like there's a lockdown here, so we can't go to bookshops. So it's going to be online buying, either used bookstores or new. And Amazon is the biggest one. And I occasionally go through and I find I look when I look for stuff, I troll through, and I'm sure everybody has seen this. They'll see a book that the cover price is say £50, but Amazon has it for like $2.95. Don't know why. Don't know how this happens, but it happens all the time. There's always these kind of deals on there. You just have to sort of search them out. And usually, when you buy it for the $2.95, it'll bounce back up to the full price or near the full price, or go say temporarily out of stock immediately. So don't know what they're doing, but I've gotten some really good deals over the years for that. And I bought 9 books this time, I think, for just over, like literally pennies over £20 for 9 books. So it's basically, some of them were less than a pound. And I think that the most expensive was just over £2, and we'll start with that one. There's still a few that I haven't received. They're still coming. I think, well, how many I got? One, two, three, four. I've got 5 here, so I've got 4 more coming. The first one that I'm going to show you was something that I was kind of excited to get. It's the subject matter that I'm interested in film wise, but I just don't really have any books on it. So when I saw this so cheap, and again, this one, I think this one just creeped over £2, so I was stretching for this one. It's called "Making the Invisible Visible: Reclaiming Women's Agency in Swedish Film History and Beyond." It's the Swedish silent films that I'm extremely interested in. I've been watching those for years, as often as I can, and I find it very difficult to find books on Swedish silent film. They're usually very, very expensive. Over £100. They're academic presses, and or they're just picture books. So there's not a lot in between, because there's a lot that I'd like to learn about the Swedish early silent Swedish film industry. This one will fill a gap, but especially for the price. It does deal with some silent stuff, but not all. So it goes right up, I think, to present, like 1980s, yeah, 70s and 80s. And it is sort of from a female perspective, and females working in and behind the scenes as well. So that'll be interesting. At least the initial ones. I'm not too interested in the modern film stuff, or even like once it goes to sound, especially Swedish stuff. But for the pennies that I pay, the £2, an essay or two will be perfectly fine. Uh, and that was published by an interesting publisher for me anyway. Is Nordic Academic Press. An academic press that was published in 2019. Okay. It's edited by Ingrid Stigsdottir. Probably mispronounced that, even though that's how it would say it would be done. But yeah, and they've got one other book. That I went to their website, and they've got one other book on Swedish film that looks interesting. But again, well, I have to wait to see if Amazon decides to drop that one, and if they do, I will grab that. Again, it'll have just a few chapters, I think, dealing with silent film. Next one is a Routledge publication, paperback. It's a print on demand. I think that's what a lot of academic publishers are going to now. It just seems like that because I am getting stuff. However, I wish they would not use Amazon as the printer. Amazon is crap. Their printing is crap. I'll say it again. Their printing is crap. Uh, and the way you can just see the way the book just sort of sits, the covers. It's just not very well done. But again, I didn't even pay. This one I don't even think was £1 or barely £1. And it is Technology and Culture, the Film Reader, edited by Andrew Utterson. And as I said, it's Routledge. Published 2005. And it's basically, it says here, brings together key theoretical texts from more than a century of writing of film and technology. It begins by exploring the intertwined technologies of cinematic representation, reproduction, distribution, and reception before locating the technological history of cinema as one component of an increasing complex technological culture. Oh, yeah, that's how it looks. And it's going to be a slog reading for me anyway, because as much as I'm interested in this kind of thing, when they get into the theory and academic writing, sometimes it's difficult. But again, it's very short. The essays are going to be short, and anytime that I start like a watch, excuse me, a Metropolis or anything like that, again, that's the robot Maria from Metropolis, the false Maria. And so I'll consult this. Another one is similar on those lines of science fiction, but it's exploration of science fiction and fantasy films called A Sense of Wonderful Century. A Sense of Wonderful Century. A Sense of Wonderful Century. Doesn't quite sound right, does it? Gary Westfall. It's by Borgo Press, which is part of Wildside, which are interesting publishers. They've done some interesting stuff. This is 2012. It says first edition, but it's an Amazon printing, so it's, well, yeah, there's no changes in it. I guess it's still the first edition, but it's not the first printing, obviously. But anyway, this one was cheap. It's fairly hefty. It's a bunch of essays. Not a lot of old stuff. Well, yeah, it's hard to say yet because it's by the looks like there's like 21 essays in here, and it's everything. It's from TV stuff. It's got Planet of the Apes. It's got some stuff about Star Trek, Twilight Zone, and This Island Earth film. So again, it's more modern, obviously recent musings on science fiction and fantasy films. But that should be interesting as I go along again when I watch something. You can see some of the stuff that's George Méliès's Trip to the Moon. What else have they got here? They've got let's see if I can do it. Well, This Island Earth, Forbidden Planet. They got Ming the Merciless is from Flash Gordon. Colorized, I don't know if it's the new film. And then they got E.T., and then that Star Wars. I'm not sure what that one is from. And then they've got, I think, 12 Monkeys. So there's one I just don't know what film that's from. I'm not sure. If anybody does recognize that, do let me know, because I don't think it says. I'm not sure what that would be. Can't quite see what the reflection is because it's too dark here at the moment in the visor, but everything else I recognize. So anyway, so that'd be interesting. And this is one of 3 books that I'll have eventually on the topic. I'm quite excited to get these as well. This is Street with No Name: A History of Classic American Film Noir by Andrew Dicos. It's University Press of Kentucky. Again, it's print on demand, but it's Lightning Press, which is it's made better. The covers they just sort of sit better. It's better made. Yeah, it's was published 2002 originally, in 2013 the paperback edition, and it's just yeah, a history of film noir, classic film noir, that is. So it doesn't come up to the neo, or I think they call it neo noir, newer stuff, or the 70s. So this will probably end with something like Touch of Evil or something like that, Orson Welles' Touch of Evil, because that's generally the consensus of classic film noir. That's where it sort of ended. But yeah, so there's this one that I was quite happy to get. Plus, there's 2 volumes of a 4-volume set about film noir. The first 2 volumes have, from what I understand, it's contemporary writings of of uh, of film noir film noir films. And the other 2 volumes, I think, are more broader. But the contemporary writings I'm interested in. Like I enjoy film reviews, contemporary film reviews as well. I'm sort of trying to dig out some of those now, because they're sort of in behind stuff, and I can't access them at the moment. And that might be an interesting little collection to show. It's not many. It's maybe half a shelf or something like that, but they're just very interesting. Another one, and there's 2 also on this subject that I'm waiting to have, and this again is another print on demand, but a hardcover. Print on demand by is printed by Lightning Press, or what's it? I always say Lightning Press. It's Lightning Source. Lightning Sources. I think it is. This is Scarecrow Press. It is romantic versus screwball comedy, charting the difference, by Wes D. Gehring, with a foreword by Steve Bell. It looks like it's the first volume in a series called Studies in Film Genres, edited by Anthony Slide, who's a film historian, and he's, speaking of film reviews, he did a series of books, decades wise, I think through Scarecrow Press, with reprinting reviews. They're very expensive now. I'm lucky. I think I only have one. I think I got the 30s volume. I'd like to get the rest, but yeah, it's just they're ridiculously expensive. But again, back to this, Scarecrow Press, 2008. And it's just, yeah, it's going through what the author has defined, or what they defined screwball comedy, and then what they defined romantic comedy, and then in chapter 4 is Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn. And then chapter 5 basically is screwball and romantic comedy in the modern era since 1960. So not so much of interest there for me, but and there's a selected filmography and annotated bibliography, which is really nice. That's what I like about these things, because like the Swedish one, in the footnotes of some of the essays and stuff, there's references to other books that I can find on Swedish film. So I'll now have names to go and search for things, because I don't get to any libraries that have good film studies books, because that would be the best thing, is go there and, basically I'd just go there and sit and read. I'd spend a day doing that, just maybe reading film stuff once a week or once a month if I could. And then, then you get names and things, but it's just really difficult. Yeah, the internet's there, but it's sometimes hit or miss, because these are subjects that are not sort of that popular. So, but there's another book coming, and I'm not sure if it's Scarecrow or McFarland. That's on screwball comedies. It's basically a filmography of screwball comedies from 34 to 42, I think. Something like that. But again, it's part of these 9 volumes that I bought here. So that's the 5. That's the first 5 that I've got. And because this year, basically 2021, there's going to be a huge reprinting in lots of stuff of George Orwell's books because they're now in the public domain. I pre-ordered 3 from Wordsworth books. They're the bargain publishers, and they're $2.20 a piece. So I left those because I ordered those in like September or something like that. One came today, 1984. I just love the covers on these. They're just beautiful covers. Like basically, I'm buying them for the covers, but I actually, well, when I ordered this, I did not have 1984 in book form, so that's why I sort of ordered it as well. So it was a double reason for it. But at that same time, I did wind up buying an annotated version from Penguin. So, but this one, I just love the cover. There is a, which is too bad. There's a printing error where sheets weren't cut off properly there, as you can see. But oh well, can't complain too much. But there's 2 others that are being done. One I think is being delivered tomorrow, Animal Farm, I think, and then there's Down and Out in Paris and London and Wigan Pier put together, I think, and that's going to come out in the middle of the month. Penguin have revamped and republishing, I think, with new covers, everything of Orwell. I'm waiting to see, because I'm curious to see if they have new introductions with those as well. Oxford World Classics this month and over the next month or two are publishing all his stuff again, with obviously for them I think new introductions. So I don't know if they're reprint introductions from other places or reprint additional material, or it's all commissioned new for Oxford World Classics. I did have those all pre-ordered, but I canceled all those because I can't justify it now as much as I'd love them. The very last book now, how long have I been going? Almost 18 minutes. It's a used book. Well, it was considered used because I came across it when I was looking for some other film stuff, and it sounded fantastic, but it's too expensive. So I searched on Abe. Yeah, still a little too expensive. And then I found on eBay somebody selling it for £3 with shipping. So I said, okay, well, I'll take a gander on it. Like I have to now sort of realize that if there's some books that I want to read and that they're really interested, and they're expensive, I'm going to have to go for ex-library copies or things like that, or obviously paperbacks where I can't be as choosy anymore, at least for the short term on things. And if it turned out to be a really great book and things change in the next year or two, then I can replace these. I can always upgrade, but at least I'll have the text. But this was considered good, so I was expecting ex-library. It's practically new. It has been read. There's a price from Leicester University Bookshop, $21.95 on there. And it's got somebody's Alan Bolton or something like that. This book belongs to, and I guess the bookseller's catalog number there. There's a few pencil ticks and so forth like that, as you can see the X there throughout. But and a few lines, but I think they're all in pencil as I can see, so that doesn't worry me at all. So, but anyway, let's get back to the book itself rather than everything else. It's Working Class Hollywood: Silent Film in the Shaping of Class in America by Stephen J. Ross. And it just sounds fantastic. It's just this path-breaking book reveals how Hollywood became Hollywood and what that meant for the politics of America and American film. Working Class Hollywood tells the story of filmmaking in the first 3 decades of the 20th century, a time when going to the movies could transform lives and when the cinema was a battleground for control of the American consciousness. Stephen Ross documents the rise of the working class film movement that challenged the dominant political ideas of the day Between 1907 and 1930, worker filmmakers repeatedly clashed with censors, movie industry leaders, and federal agencies over the kinds of images and subjects audiences would be allowed to see. The outcome of these battles was critical to our own times, for the victors got to shape the meaning of class in 20th century America. Like I said, it is just specifically a Hollywood, obviously, in America. But I like the idea of the fact that potentially film can change society to a certain extent. And there are instances where that happened. In Sweden, especially, Victor Seastrom did a film called Ingelborg it was a book written by Salma Legalov, I believe, and it's got to do with a woman having her child taken away, and it's very melodramatic. But the thing is, there was when it was made, there was such an outcry of the public that they forced political change for adoption, and I think, well, or for unwanted children and all that kind of thing. Like they had forced change. It actually made changes. So I've been quite interested in how film can actually do that. I don't know if it does that anymore, but it definitely did occasionally at times. Actually, it'd be too bad. It wouldn't be too bad if it could do that today, I guess, especially what's happening. But all the best to everyone, and hopefully things get settled in the state capital in the U.S. and the presidency quickly. And yeah, so I'll leave you there, BookTube. I haven't done a huge amount of reading this week. I've been doing a lot. Well, I've had to fill out forms and do things all week for certain things because being unemployed now and actually applying for a few things. So I haven't done as much reading as I wanted to, but I might be back tomorrow with a Friday Reads just to say where I am at and what I hope to read over the next week. So everybody take care. I hope everybody's well, and see you next time.